Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. Donald Trump is doing his best to change the federal court system. He is constantly attacking the federal judiciary. And he was taken to task by federal district court judge Carlton Reeves, who was appointed by President Barack Obama 9 years ago to the Southern District of Mississippi. Now, Carlton issued decisions protecting the rights of women and minorities. He was awarded the Thomas Jefferson Foundation Medal in Law. In his speech, he defended the judiciary against Trump and the Republican majority in the U.S. Senate. Here is a portion of his fiery speech.
When politicians attack the courts, it's dangerous, political, and guilty of egregious overreach. You can hear the Klan's lawyers assailing officers of the court across the South. When leaders chastise people for merely using the courts, you can hear the Citizen Council hammering up those names of those black petitioners there in Yazoo City. When the powerful accuse the courts of opening up our country to potential terrorists, you can hear the Southern Manifesto's authors smearing the judiciary for simply upholding the rights of black folk. When lawmakers say we should get rid of our judges, you can hear segregationist senators writing bills to strip our courts of their power. And when the executive branch calls our courts and their work stupid, horrible, ridiculous, incompetent, a laughingstock, and a complete and total disgrace, you can hear the slurs and threats of executives like George Wallace echoing into the present. I know what I heard when federal judge was called very biased and unfair because he is of Mexican heritage. When that judge's ethnicity was said to prevent his issuing fair rulings. When that judge was called a hater simply because he is Latino. I heard the words of James Eastland, a race-baiting politician empowered by the falsehood of white supremacy, questioning the judicial temperament of a man solely because of the color of his skin. I heard those words, and I did not know if I was in 1967 or 2017. This false seed is being sown across this country, from Mississippi to Virginia. I know because I'm here. The proof is in my mailbox. In countless letters of hatred, I've been called a piece of garbage, an arrogant, pompous piece of and you fill in the rest. This may not be appropriate for children. A disgrace, an asshole who will burn in hell, and the embodiment of Satan himself. One person has even told me that he has prayed that God will give me complete discomfort. The deliverers of hate who send these messages aim to bully and scare judges who look like me from the judiciary. And so they share an aim with those who use whips and ropes and trees against my ancestors, scrubbing the black experience from our nation's courts. This administration and a bare majority of the Senate walking arm in arm and not stumbling unaware towards a homogeneous judiciary. Think of the slurs against Judge Curiel. Think of the nominations to the bench of those who call diversity code for relaxed standards, who call transgender children part of Satan's plan, who defend the KKK in online message boards, who led voting suppression efforts for segregationists like Jesse Helms. Think of the pattern of judicial nominees refusing to admit, like every generation of nominees before them, that Brown versus Board was correctly decided. That same Brown which led to Alexander versus Holmes, which breathed justice into my segregated streets there in Yazoo City, as if equality was a mere political position. Friends, students, let it be said that equal protection of the law is not a political position. It is enshrined in our Constitution.
Oh, fever in the funk house, Avis.
All I can say is amen, amen, and amen. I mean, I think it's very important that we realize the reality of the moment that we are in. And, he very eloquently laid out the struggle that we are facing right now in terms of what has been unleashed on this country. This administration and this specific person has tapped into an ugly, racist underbelly that never left, but at least for a period of time felt some level of social disdain, and therefore was a little bit more undercover in their abilities and maybe hampered their activities. But you become emboldened when you have a president of the United States who calls Nazis and KKK members very fine people, right? You become boldened when individuals who are white commit terrorist acts and they're never, ever even mentioned in a tweet. I mean, it's never even acknowledged by the president. But you have that very same person calling Black football players who merely want our law enforcement to not kill unarmed people, to have that person call them sons of bitches. This creates a reality where those hateful forces are unleashed.
All right, Lenny.
Well, I think one of the things we have to look at, too, as the judge said towards the end of his remarks, is going back to the Constitution and having that level playing field where adjudication from the bench is not politicized. Every single president tries to put their stamp on the courts, and that's what you're seeing with this president. Now, if you have more extreme views, you're going to see more extreme nominees. If you have control of the Senate, they're going to be nominated, and then they're going to be confirmed. What we have to start finding is more judges that go back to what the judge said. The premise of what we should be doing is equality for all in accordance to our Constitution, which means that when it comes to voter suppression opportunities, they should not be taken upon. Why? Because our Constitution says if you're a citizen and you meet the age requirements and the residency requirements, that you have the right to vote. There is no such thing as playing fuzzy with that. Just the same when it comes to other matters, it should go back to constitutionality. I think that when you start looking at the politicization of the courts, you start losing that. I think we've still lost that previously. Now you're seeing it on the other side. And unfortunately, it's pulling the country further apart. There's a way to get back to it. And I think the judge hit on that, not just from the rhetoric that we're hearing around the country, but also to what the courts need to be and how we should be looking to adjudicate these issues moving forward.
All right, Malik.
Yeah, the judge's comments, not very much about it surprised me. I've lived through the time where whether it's comments that were made about Scalia, comments that are even now made about.
Yeah, but that's a homeboy from your state, Mississippi.
What does that mean? The fact that he's from Mississippi, I disagree with people. I disagree with my own family and friends from Mississippi, so this is nothing new to me. But my point here is that the idea that a judge or anyone would criticize someone in the judiciary or even the president for that matter, it doesn't surprise me. And, this is the position that the Republican Party is in, because for years, well before I came to the party, the Republican Party was the Tea Party. So, that things that are said now, these are the same people. I don't think that Donald Trump actually created new people or found new people. These are the same people that have been Republicans all along, and we can rightly criticize them.
No, that's not true.
Malik,
that's not Roland,
Lenny, about 30 seconds go, Lenny.
30 seconds. Number one, the Tea Party people Malik, please. The Tea Party people that first got on board were people that actually knew fiscal policy. Those were Ron Paul people. Then the Tea Party got hijacked by people that were opportunists that started taking it to the far right, and you started getting more and more what you've had starting in 2012 and now going into 2016. Two completely different groups. Wait a minute. You said you weren't here very long. You barely remember the Republican Party, let alone the Tea Party, but you're going to tell me about history when I was there doing the rallies. Please just listen for a second.
Two different groups with guns?
And you weren't there for
Obama rallies with guns?
You weren't there.
Who were they?
Pardon me?
Who were the people who showed up at Trump rallies, at Obama rallies with guns, expressing their Second Amendment rights? Who were
No,
they?
what those people were not Tea Party people. Those people were reactionary people that were upset on the night of the election in 2008. Now, I know you probably were still in high school when that happened, but I was around Andrew media at the time. That was right at the election. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the campus of North Carolina.
Hold on, both of you can't talk. Lenny, go ahead.
These were other places where this happened in 2008, where they went around saying, well, I know he got elected, but we have to let him know who's boss. That's what the rhetoric was in November 2008, December 2008, going into the inauguration in January 2009.
Hold on, Malik, just real quick. When did you join the Republican Party?
In 2016.
Lenny, how long have you been a Republican?
I've been a Republican since 2004. Been doing this live and nationally for over 10 years.
Okay,
that's all I got.
That same party showed up.
All right, I'm just checking.
That same party showed up with those guns
at
the same rallies. This is not after Obama was elected. This was when he was campaigning. And I know because I supported him during that time, and I had a real problem with the fact that the members of the Republican Party decided to express their Second Amendment rights by showing up at Obama's rally.
I got you, but I got it, Malik. I got it, but it's a whole bunch of new people who love Trump. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders, enter the Ford Motor Company HBCU Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement the proposal. The deadline to apply has been extended to April 15th. That is today. So go to fgb.life for more information to apply. I'll say go to this website today. Don't wait. Tomorrow it's too late. So go to fgb.life for more info and to apply. And remember, Ford goes further in our community. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.